Hi everyone, Sarah here. I have a project to share with you for the Not2Shabby shop. Bring your stamps to life DT Hop. I have a lot of information to share with you though. There is a special coupon code. Mine is Sarah15 and that will give you 15% off your entire purchase, and that is good for only 4 days, so Thursday to Friday. Anyone who uses that coupon code will be entered into a draw to win a $25 gift code to the Not2Shabby shop. Also, the new Lawn Fawn release is available on Jamie's shop this morning, so get there before they're gone. And then I will have the links to everyone who is participating down below and the links to the shop and everything. If you can subscribe and leave a comment, there will be a draw at the end. Check out Jamie's channel. She is giving away the Gorgeous Girls carrying case for the mini stamps, and it comes with the #1 mini stamp. Super cute. So you do not want to miss out on that. Okay, so we were asked to make a project using stamps from the Not2Shabby shop and our go-to coloring medium, and then recreate using a different medium. So I chose this Greeting Farm for Your Wings, stamp set using the Pegasus. And my go-to medium that I used was Copics. So I will show you. Ta-da! Here's my card using Copics. So the entire background and the image are all colored using Copics. And I do have process video that I will be attaching for you to see, because I did use a special technique on the background to change the look of it. And then the second medium that I used was Distress Inks. So I used Distress Inks and Distress Markers. Ta-da! I love it. It's so cute. So you can see that the reason I used the special technique on my background on my Copics is so that I could recreate what it would look like if you're using Distress Inks. So very cool. Super happy with the way that they turned out. I used some Wink of Stella on both of them, so you can see a little bit of shine there. And I do have process for both of these, so this may be a long video, but you don't need to watch. You can watch if you want to see how I brought my stamps to life using two different coloring techniques. And they do give two very different looks. Like the Copics are very, very bright and vibrant, whereas the Distress Inks are more muted and kind of distressed looking. So yeah, love how it turned out. So please stay tuned and watch. If not, go ahead and hop to the other links down below. Okay, so I've sped this up super fast just so I can fit this all into the same video. This is my Copic image that I'm coloring. I'm just doing the background. So I'm starting off with B16 on the bottom, and you just want to get a really good solid layer of color in there. So you'll notice that I'm doing it over and over again because I don't want to see my pen marks or stripy lines, anything like that. So usually I start with the chisel tip end just to do some of the bigger areas, and then when I'm going around the image I go to the brush tip. So I'm filling it in just with the first color as good as I can. That looks pretty good. So then the next one that I'm using is BG45. I picked these colors to match with the Distress Inks that I'm using on the other image. So, and also because they would blend together very good. So the BG45 is a nice lighter color, has a lot of blender solution in it, so you'll notice that it actually is blending out the darker blue, and it makes it a nice transition to the two colors. And I'm bringing it down over on top of the blue so that to help it blend a little bit better. And then my last color that I'm using is BV02. It was kind of light, but it still worked out pretty good. I was trying to match it with the Distress ink, so it worked out. Again, chisel tip to get down the largest areas, and then go to the brush nib to go around your images. And then this one I'm bringing down into the turquoise and then bringing the turquoise back up and just blending them back and forth. And then you'll get a nice blending in between the two. And at this point I was just cleaning off where the color went over my image. Okay, so now that I have my background all colored in and blended together, I have a idea in my head of how I want this to look because I'm comparing this image to distress inks. So I happened to come across spray-on rubbing alcohol in my dollar store, and I thought that would be super awesome to use on my Copic markers because they're alcohol. It kind of works as a blender, but in a spray bottle. So I am going to spray my colored background, and I'm doing this before I color in my Pegasus and my clouds because I don't want it to blend in really with the background, so that's why I'm doing it separately. So I'm just gently spraying it, not pressing too hard because I want some blotchy ones, and just from a distance. And basically when this is done, it's going to have that splotchy distressed ink look. So just takes a while to dry before you see the effects of it. And if you want bigger splotches, you can just spray it in your hand and drop it on like you normally would. You have to go a little bit faster because it dries up in your hand kind of, right? And if you want to make it go a little faster so you can see, you can dry it off. So let me just bring this up closer so you can see kind of the splotchy, kind of looks a little bit textury. I'm going to add some more to the blue down at the bottom. Because there's a lot of layers of ink in it, you need to work at it a little bit more. Whoop, too big. Just clean up behind there real quick. It's looking pretty cool. There we go. So I'm gonna leave this one to flatten out before I color in the inside. Okay, now for the distress background. Again, I've sped this one up. I know it's a little fast, but it's just the background. So I'm starting off with shaded lilac, and I'm just, my images are all masked off so that they won't go over top. Unfortunately, the little ear kept folding over. The next color is broken china. That's the one in the middle. And then on the bottom, I am using Salty Ocean. And then I'm going to go back with the broken china to kind of blend from the middle. And that's it for those. I'm going to take off the, the masks, dry it out a little bit, and then splatter the water to get the distress look that I was going for with the Copic markers. Okay, now on to the Copic coloring. I am not speeding this one up so fast for you guys as the background was. This is just my normal fast speed. So for the Pegasus body, I'm just using BV20, a very, very light violet, and a blender pen. And then that was the cheeks. I used R00. So the BV20, I'm just highlighting the shadow areas of the horse's body and the face and the wing. Just very lightly adding a little bit of color. Okay, so then onto the clouds. I'm using B21 and a blender pen. Now the blue did end up being a little bit darker than I had hoped. For some reason it looks a little different on my color chart. Not sure why. But I blended it out and it still worked out, and then I decided to do a little bit of the dot technique just to give it a little bit of texture and difference from the background. So I just shadowed a little bit of the edges and then dotted around most of the outside of the clouds. Later on I did go back over it with the blender pen over those dots just a little bit to tone them down. So the same thing for all three clouds. Now for the hair, I wanted it to be really bright and stand out, so I chose RV13 and RV14. I'm just doing some basic shading, doing a little bit of flick marks as well as I can. I didn't want to flick it onto the background and ruin it, so I was trying to be very, very careful. But I used the same color for the entire mane and tail, just to make it simple, because there is a lot of color in the background. When I was done with the coloring, I did use Wink of Stella on the mane, and then I did add it a little bit on the sentiment that I had stamped on later on. That is pretty much it for the Copic coloring, and stay tuned for the rest of the distress ink. Okay, so for the distress ink, I have my laminated white paper that I use for my palette, and this portion I used markers that I just scribbled out onto the palette. So for the shading on the actual unicorn itself, I used a little bit of milled lavender and then a little bit of shaded lilac. And then for the cheeks, I added in some spun sugar. I don't know if you saw that, but when I opened my marker, the whole thing fell out. Does that every now and then where the felt tube on the inside goes flying. This part is the clouds. I did use Faded Jeans. I know it is a dark blue, but I was watercoloring it, so the more water you add to it, the lighter that it is. And then I did try and give it sort of the dot technique that I do with the Copic markers. It more bled into the paper, but it still turned out. It's kind of hard to get like a perfect circular dot with a water brush. So again, same thing for the clouds, just a little bit of shading and a little bit of dotting. And then for the hair, it's a little bit harder to get super bright colors when you're watercoloring with the distress markers. So I started off with a base of spun sugar just to get a light pink base in there. And then the other one that I used was worn lipstick. You can see it's a little bit dried out, but I can still get it to color on the palette. So I just did the spun sugar first and let it dry so that it wasn't going to run around. And then that's where I was trying to clean off the ear. So then with the worn lipstick, I tried to do some flick marks just to get the texture of the hair. You'll see when I bring it closer. Sorry, this was a little zoomed out. So the distress markers just give you a different look. It is more of a painted, obviously, because you're painting, kind of pastel-y, toned down look, whereas the Copic markers are much brighter and I want to say that the colors are vibrant. You can still get vibrant colors as you can see with the backgrounds, but a lot of your coloring gets a little washed out. But they both turned out very, very beautiful, and I love them both. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe, and don't forget to follow along on the hop. Thanks. Bye.